get this going. All right. So obviously, we're going to provide the recording to the Zoom immediately at the conclusion of this availability, but we wanted to bring one of our providers on to talk about daylight savings time. I don't know if everybody else felt it the same way I did this morning, but adults can certainly use some tips to adjust to the time change, but it can be even more important for kids to get that time to adjust to the new sleep time. So first, what I wanted to do was, Dr. Hopkins, can you give us your name and your title, and before we get going?
Sure. My name is Katie Hopkins, and I am the medical director for Pediatric Integrated Behavioral Health and a licensed child and adolescent psychologist.
All right. So first, how can losing an hour of sleep during daylight saving time affect kids and teens?
Well, certainly, most immediately, I think we all saw this morning, having trouble waking up, some drowsiness throughout the day, difficulty paying attention, increased moodiness and irritability. It's not unusual that kids and teens and adults are going to have those symptoms in these next few days.
So what can we do? What can we do for families to help them prepare for daylight saving time?
Well, so ideally, you thought about this before right now, and started last week really making sure that kids were going to bed on time and then gradually putting them to bed a little bit early so that by the time the time change happened, it kids were prepared and already basically going to bed at the new bedtime. Certainly, you can continue throughout this week making sure that they're going to bed at their set time on the clock. So, one mistake that I see some families make is that they adjust an hour ahead. So, if their normal bedtime is 8 o'clock, but then we sprang forward, they let their kids stay up until 9. Well, that doesn't quite work when you still have to get them up at the same time. So we really want to be making sure that we're protecting how many hours a night kids sleep. School age children in elementary school need 10 to 11 hours a night, and children in middle and high school need 8 to 10 hours a night. So, really making sure that you're setting a bedtime based on when they have to get up for school so that they are allowing for adequate time and making sure that you've got good bedtime routines in place that allows them for relaxing before bed, reading a book, listening to quiet music, and stopping screen use at least an hour, better 2 hours before bed. Those screens really disrupt the natural production of melatonin, which is essential for righting our circadian rhythm and getting us back on track for sleep. So if kids are watching a screen, whether that be TV or a tablet or a phone, right up until lights out, it's going to take that much longer for melatonin to be released in the brain to send those messages that it's time to go to sleep. So making sure that you're limiting screen time before bed, um, and then putting them to bed in a dark room. So, with the time change, one of the great things is that we've got more light in the evenings, but for many children, particularly younger children, that may mean putting them to bed while it's still light out. Whereas last week it may have been dark in their bedrooms at bedtime. Even small children who don't read clocks are good at reading light, and they will call you out and say, "It's not time for me to go to bed. It's still light outside." And so that's where blackout curtains can be really helpful. Everyone in my house uses blackout curtains, including in my bedroom, and it really helps make sure that we're protecting that nighttime sleep, regardless of whether the sun is up or not.
And how long does it take to adjust to daylight saving time?
Well, it depends on, how well people are following their routine and making sure that they're going to bed at a consistent bedtime and waking up at a consistent time. The more consistent you are with going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time, the more quickly someone will adjust. So within a week, your body will adjust, your sleep will adjust. You'll find yourself getting tired at the time you should be getting tired at. But it may take longer for some people who aren't maintaining that strict routine. I think that a lot of folks probably who struggled this morning to get up stayed up late on Fridays and Saturdays, as we do sometimes stay up later. But ideally, the sooner you can get going to bed at a time that again allows you or your kids to get enough sleep, and you do that consistently, you'll be back on track in no time.
And just as a little plug, should families see their pediatricians if they're having trouble getting their kids to sleep?
Yes, absolutely. Your pediatrician is a great person to talk to if your kids are struggling with getting enough sleep, if they're not sleeping through the night, if they're waking up too early or staying awake too late after you've made sure that they've got a good sleep routine and turned off screens. You can certainly talk to your doctor if you have concerns about them not sleeping well, particularly before you make any decisions about giving over the counter medications that might help them get sleepy. You want to talk to your pediatrician before you make those changes.
Okay. And before I open it up to questions, anybody who has any questions can feel free to put them in the chat. But before I open it up to any media questions, is there anything else that you wanted to cover about daylight saving time?
Um, I think that what's most important for families to understand about daylight savings is that while it's wonderful to have more light in the evenings, we want to make sure that we're still protecting good sleep. And so I think we're all looking forward to the longer days and springtime weather, but none of us will enjoy it as much if we're underslept. So making sure that we get good sleep, regardless of whether it's light out, and we'll make sure that we can enjoy this springtime for what it is.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Dr. Hopkins? Feel free to open your mics and ask questions. All right. From WLKY in the chat, Dr. Hopkins, why is it hard for kids to adjust?
Well, in my practice as a child and adolescent psychologist, I actually think kids have an easier time adjusting than adults do. I think what makes it difficult is when they did not previously have a good nighttime routine, or it's one that did not allow for adequate sleep. So in general, I have found that many families underestimate how many hours a night that children really need. And they think, oh, well, my teenager needs 8 to 10 hours of sleep and they're getting 6. So that's pretty good. No, that's terrible. That's consistently losing 2 hours a night of sleep. That's like experiencing daylight savings times two every day. And chronically underslept kids have a harder time adjusting to any changes in their schedule, whether that be an extra activity or losing an hour of sleep a night. And so, yeah, in my experience, the kids that have the hardest time adjusting are kids that actually don't have a very consistent routine to begin with, where they're also not getting enough sleep to begin with. So, in reality, physically, kids are much more resilient than we are as adults. So they can actually adjust to daylight savings more quickly if we can keep them on a routine. Now, that said, as adults, our tiredness and crankiness, we also have the ability to regulate those feelings a little bit more, to use language to tell others, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm feeling a little tired today, or to adjust our schedule so that we don't have so much of a busy day in this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Younger kids don't necessarily have that ability developed, so they're more likely to express that in behavior. So whining, crying, tantrums. So we would probably do that too if we didn't have the language to express it. So sometimes the adjustment issues that we see in little kids is actually just that they don't have the words or the ability as much to regulate how they're feeling, and the impact of not getting good sleep is going to impact how they feel.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions? Dr. Robbins, I think you're off the hook now. We appreciate
Great.
your
I'm going to go
time.
take a nap.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time, and like I said, everyone, I'll be sending a link to this recording immediately after. So, thank you again for your time, Dr. Hopkins, and hope everybody has a good rest of their day.
You're welcome. You too.